Hello, a very good morning to my lovely kids, those who are listening right to me. I'm your social science educator, Mrs. Mitali, and we are doing our chapter number 2 of history, that is New Kings and the Kingdoms. And in this chapter, we have discussed few of the dynasties in the last video, that how they have emerged and also we have discussed about the foreign invasion. So what all we have discussed in our last video is the dynasties, the Palas, the Gurjara Pratiharas and the Rajputs. After that we have discussed about some foreign invasion of Muhammad Ghazni and Muhammad Gauri. So now we are moving forward to our next topic, that are the dynasties which emerged in the medieval period in the South India. So the first dynasty that we are going to discuss here was Rashtrakuta dynasty. Rashtrakuta के बारे में हमने last में भी discuss किया था ना video में, that it was emerged from the Danti Durga. Yes, it is the same dynasty. The Rashtrakuta dynasty ruled the part of South India from 8th to 10th century. The kingdom was Karnataka and the current Indian states of Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Maharashtra and Gujarat. So what does this word Rashtrakuta means? It means that Rashtra means country, and what is Kuta? Kuta means the chief. That means the chief of the country. And from where it has emerged? It has emerged from Danti Durga. Who was he and what he has done? That you can listen to my last video. The Rashtrakuta rulers were the able administrator and the great warriors. Their armies, their armies were so capable that also I have told you that they were capable of winning the Kannauj. Kannauj हमने पढ़ा था last video में, that it was the place which have been attacked by 3 different dynasties. Yeah, see, the Palas, the Gurjara Pratiharas and the Pallavas. They were in the constant conflict with the Rashtrakutas. The Rashtrakutas built various capitals as their empire grew. So slowly, their empire was growing. So they were changing their capitals, and there was many craft work which they have done, just like the Temple of Ellora, and the one which is given in your book was the cut out rocks of Elephanta or cut out Elephanta caves, which was built by the Rashtrakutas. But by the end of 10th century, what happened? Their power started declining. So that was about the Rashtrakutas. The next dynasty was the Yadavas of Vedgiri. So here, if you can see, this is the Yadavas. So it was established by Bhilhana in the 12th century. They ruled over area which was between Narmada and the Godavari river. They had a flourishing trade. Trade to acha hoga because it was surrounded by rivers only. Alauddin Khilji defeated them and annexed their kingdom in 14th century. So at 14th century, the Yadavas of Devagiri was declined. The next was Chalukyas of Kalyani, or जिसको हम बोलते हैं Chalukya dynasty. They are known as later Chalukyas. Their kings like Vikrama was very famous for building many temples. So they were very famous for their building temples. The next was the Kakatiyas of Rengar. See here, if you can see where my cursor is moving right now, this is Kakatiya dynasty. So they ruled the territory that lay between the Godavari and the Krishna river in the 12th and the 13th century. Then Macro Polo visited the kingdom. They were the followers of Lord Shiva. Shiva को follow करते थे and patronized. Patronized means शौकीन थे. कौन सी languages के? Sanskrit and Telugu. But what happened in 14th century? Kya hua? This Sultan, Delhi Sultan, they had a fight with him, and Delhi Sultan, of course, conquered this area. So that's how the dynasty was declined. The next is the Hoysalas of Deva Samudra. So they ruled over, okay, on this map you can see that where it is. Yes, they ruled over the region now called Karnataka. वो area जिसको अभी हम क्या बोलते हैं? Karnataka. So they were ruling over this area. Then Vishnuvardhan was their most powerful king and their kingdom was also annexed by the Delhi Sultanate. Delhi Sultanate ने इनका area भी अपने under ले लिया था, इनको हरा दिया था, and that's how this dynasty also declined. The next are the Pallavas. Pallavas, the two great Pallava rulers was Mahendravarman I and the Narasimhavarman I. Their capital was Kanchipuram. The Pallava kings were the patron of art and the agriculture. The Rath temple at the Mahabalipuram and the Kailasnath temple at Kanchi are the example of Pallavas temple architecture. जो इन्होंने क्या बनाए थे? They have made the temples. Next, the Pandyas. The Pandyas. Here you can see where my cursor is moving. These are the Pandyas. So the kingdom of Pandyas was in the region of Madurai. Madurai was an important center of learning and their kingdom declined in 14th century. And how it was declined, that we are going to discuss in the Cholas. The next that we are going to discuss about is the Chola's dynasty, and this is the dynasty which is the biggest one and which took over all the other dynasties. So this dynasty we are going to read in a detail. In this topic we are going to discuss about like how the Chola dynasty formed, how they administered the society, उनकी administration कैसी थी, also what languages, what artwork, what things that they used to love to do, what other things that they have done for the societies. So there are so many, what all religions they used to follow. So in now we are going to read about the Cholas administration in the detail.
Children, let's take a closer look at the map. Can you see River Kaveri and delta of River Kaveri on the map? Can you see Thanjavur and Urayur, two important towns? अब बात करते हैं चोलास की. Who were they? They were not kings initially. Rather, they were subordinate to Pallavas. पल्लव डायनेस्टी साउथ में एक रूलिंग डायनेस्टी थी पहले, एंड चोलास दे वर जस्ट सबॉर्डिनेट टू पल्लवास एंड दे हेल्ड पावर इन उरैयूर. यानी कि उरैयूर में चोलास रूल करते थे जस्ट लाइक अ सामंत, वो वहां पे पावर होल्ड करते थे. एंड सिमिलरली टू चोलास देयर वर मुतर्रैयार्स who held power in regions around Kaveri Delta, but the king of that area or the main ruling dynasty of that area was Pallavas. Then one day, Vijay Alya, a Chola chief, he captured Kaveri Delta from Muttarayar. यानी कि चोलास ने मुतर्रैयार के साथ लड़ाई की और कावेरी डेल्टा हथिया लिया. And then gradually, Cholas built a new town, that is the town of Thanjavur, and they also built a temple of goddess Nishumbasudini there. So gradually, from a small kingdom, Cholas built a huge empire. The Pandya dynasty, the Pallav dynasty, and many other areas in south and north of India became part of Chola kingdom. Rajaraja I, who was the most famous and powerful Chola ruler, he became king in 985 Common Era and he expanded his control over many areas. उन्होंने अपने kingdom का administration भी दुरुस्त किया यानी reorganize किया. And then his son Rajendra I, he also kept on expanding and he even raided Ganga Valley, Sri Lanka, countries of Southeast Asia, and he even developed a huge army for these expeditions as well as a huge navy. Take a look at the territories ruled by Cholas. The blue portion is showing those territories which were directly ruled by Cholas, and the pink portion that's showing the areas where Cholas had their huge influence. Cholas were famous not only because they built a big empire, but they were also famous because of their temples. Rajaraja and Rajendra built many temples in their dynasty, and especially at Thanjavur and Gangaikonda Cholapuram. ये temples इतने famous हो गए कि हर साल बहुत हजारों लोग इन्हें देखने के लिए आते थे, and as a result, many people who were craft producers, who were garland makers, and they settled over there और वहाँ पे ही उन्हें काम मिला. Temples got huge amount of lands from the king, and उस उस लैंड से क्या किया जाता था, उस लैंड के ऊपर कल्टिवेशन भी होता था एंड वेरियस अदर एक्टिविटीज वेंट ऑन दोज लैंड्स, और उस लैंड से जो भी कमाई होती थी that was used to maintain those specialists who worked at and lived near the temple, यानी कि पुजारी, माला बनाने वाले, कुक्स, सफाई कर्मचारी, म्यूजिशियंस एटसेट्रा, उनको सैलरी देना, उनको उनके खर्चे पूरे करना, all this was done from the money that was earned because of the lands that were gifted by the king. Take a look at these beautiful pictures of Chola temples. The first image is of Brihadiswara temple at Thanjavur and the second one is of Gangaikonda Cholapuram temple. And do you know, children, around these temples there lived many bronze sculptors who made beautiful bronze images, and bronze sculptures made during Chola time period were amongst the finest in the world. Next topic is agriculture. How did the Chola rulers improve agriculture? Children, खेती करने के लिए दो चीजें बहुत जरूरी हैं and they are land and water. Chola rulers cleared forest areas to bring more land under cultivation, as more land under cultivation means more production of crops, and then crops and fields had to be watered. So for irrigation, wells were dug, canals were built and tanks were constructed to collect rainwater. You can see the images of well and canal. Canal, what is canal? Canal is a channel of water that is connected to a reservoir, and reservoir in turn is connected to a dam, and dam is constructed on the main river. Then tanks were built to collect rainwater. That means a rainwater harvesting technique was used during the Chola time period. And embankments were also constructed to prevent flooding. Now, what is embankment? You can see the image. Embankment is a wall that is constructed to prevent the river from flooding. कई बार channels में या canals में पानी बहुत ज़्यादा हो जाता है, स्पेसिफिकली बारिशों के टाइम पे. सो बहुत खतरा रहता है कि आसपास के इलाकों में बाढ़ आ सकती है क्योंकि चैनल्स ओवरफ्लो करते हैं. So in that case, in order to prevent that, these walls are constructed. They are like V-shaped walls, and they prevent the water from overflowing the channels. And then Kaveri River was also used to provide water for irrigation. Kaveri River has many channels, and those channels used to flood the nearby areas during rainy season, and that made the soil fertile as well. So here is another map. Can you see Gangaikonda Cholapuram, Thanjavur and Urayur? They are all situated on the banks of river Kaveri. So river Kaveri was an important source of irrigation for all three towns. These are the pictures of Sluice Gate. Sluice Gate is a sliding gate for controlling the flow of water. The smallest image at the top, it's the image given in the book. Now these sluice gates were also used during Chola time period. Can you see the red arrows? These gates, when they are pulled up, the water flows to the other side, and when they are pulled down, the flow of water can be stopped. This is done to maintain the flow of water specifically during rainy season when the flow of water becomes too heavy and it can cause flooding in the nearby areas. So children, before moving to the next topic, that is administration under Chola Empire, it is necessary to understand meaning of certain terms. The first term is Ar. Ar means a settlement of peasants. Peasants कौन है? These are those people who work under a landlord. एक landlord की ज़मीन के ऊपर खेती करते हैं, and for using their land they pay tax, either through in the form of money, or अगर पैसा नहीं है तो they used to give part of their produce to the landlord, and generally second option was opted. So एक विलेज में बहुत सारी peasant communities थी, peasant caste थी, उस ग्रुप को कहा जाता था Ar. And next is Nadu. Group of villages with settlements of peasants was called Nadu. यानी कि हर विलेज में बहुत सारी peasants की communities थी. All those communities in village 1, village 2, village 3 and so on. They all were taken together and they were called Naru. And Velala is the next term. Velala is a caste of rich peasants. Peasants में भी बहुत सारी caste थी. One such caste was Velala and they were rich peasants. And the next term is Brahmadeya. Brahmadeya is a land gifted to Brahmins by kings. And these gifts were recorded on copper plates as shown in the image. नेक्स्ट टॉपिक इज चोला एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, यानी कि चोलास अपना राज्य का काम किस तरह से चलाते थे. So Chola administration was very well organized and efficient. Cholas had a large army and they were a monarchy. So they administered their kingdom in following ways. In every Chola village, the communities of people were majorly divided into two groups, that is Brahmins and non-Brahmins. The assembly of Brahmin people was called as Sabha and the assembly of non-Brahmin people were called as Naru. जैसे कि आपने आज सुना होगा students union, teachers union, laborers union. So it was not a union but it could be called an assembly. So Brahmins की assembly को सभा बोलते थे and non-Brahmins की assembly जो थी that was a peasant assembly. It was called Naru. So विलेज के कामकाज को देखने के लिए in order to administer the village, rich peasants of Velala caste they exercised considerable control over affairs of Naru. यानी कि जो peasant group था उसके अंदर although बहुत सारी communities थी but the main community was Velala caste because they were rich. So peasants of Velala caste they handled majority of the issues and they took major decisions for controlling the affairs of Naru. And then there were association of traders also who were called as Nagaram. Traders वो लोग होते हैं जो एक जगह से दूसरी जगह goods को buy and sell करते हैं. So association of traders was called as Nagaram and at times within the Chola administration they were also asked to handle some functions. Brahmin assembly का main काम क्या होता था? Brahmins, as we studied earlier, Brahmins were given gifts of land by the kings. So their main function was to look after that land which was called Brahmadeya. उस land पे cultivation भी होता था, उस land पे temple भी होता था, charity work भी होता था, उसमें irrigation भी संभालना होता था. So to look after all that work, they also had their communities and that was the main work of Brahmin village assembly. And sabha में election होते थे in order to choose the members of committee. Elections used to take place and elections को जीतना आसान नहीं था. You could contest elections only if those Brahmins had their own house, they were aged between 35 to 70, they were well versed in Vedas and administrative matters, they were honest, etc. So here are some important terms from the chapter. Pause the video here, watch them, understand them and learn them. Let's recall certain facts. Gurjara Pratihara ruled over Rajasthan and Gujarat. Rashtrakutas ruled over Western Deccan. Palas ruled over Bengal. Cholas over Tamil Nadu. Chalukyas over Karnataka. Pallavas over Kanchipuram in South India.
I hope that video must have helped you a lot to understand about the Cholas dynasty. But there's one thing that is in your book and missing in the video is the two terms which is Prashasti and the land grant that we are going to discuss now. Prashasti were the Sanskrit poem. पता है कैसी poems थी? क्या करते थे राजा महाराजा? राजा ये सोचते थे कि आज से 100 साल बाद जब लोग मेरे बारे में पढ़ेंगे तो what they will read, क्यों ना मैं उसको खुद ही लिखवा दूं कि कोई मेरे बारे में क्या पढ़ेगा. तो क्या करते थे राजा महाराजा? What they used to do, they used to call Brahmins and they used to ask Brahmins to write the poems in their praise. उस राजा की praise में क्या लिखते हैं? वो poems लिखते हैं. जब वो poems लिखेंगे तो वो poems में क्या दिखाएंगे? They'll show that that the king is so fearless, the king is so victorious, so brave, and he has achieved a lot of things. So that was called the Prashastis. What were the Prashastis? See, Prashastis were the Sanskrit poems written by the Brahmins in the praise of the kings. They contain details which must not necessarily be true. जरूरी नहीं है कि वो सच्ची हो. इसमें राजा वही लिखवाता था जो वो लिखवाना चाहता था. They tell us the way the rulers wanted to depict themselves, the way that the king want to show. For example, how the king want to show. The king want to tell that he's a great achiever, victorious, fearless, or variant. So these were the prashastis. Then the land grants. What were the land grants? King often rewarded Brahmins by the grant of land. The land which was rewarded to the Brahmins by the kings. So that was called the land grants, which were recorded on the copper plates and which were given to the people who received the land. तो जिसको वो हम कॉपर प्लेट भी दे देते थे किसको द पर्सन हु इज रिसीविंग दिस लैंड सो now I think you all must have cleared in this chapter like what all dynasties were emerged in the north during the medieval period and what all dynasties emerged and declined in the medieval period in the south India and why and how the Chola was one of the biggest or one of the most powerful dynasty we can say. So I hope this chapter is clear to you. Still, if you have any doubt, we are going to meet in Zoom sessions as well, and you can write me below also. Okay? So thank you so much for listening to me, for giving me some time. Go through your book, study it, and try to understand it. Okay? Bye bye. See you in the next chapter.